How have I been robbed for the cover of my wheel? This is fantastic. Black timber finish with the white render. The cladding that we've used around this part, instead of using the aluminium black, we can use that up there and we can fit it all around the window. And we could do it here as well. I think that looks really nice. Monday morning, we're not in the yard. We're at the refurbishment project. We're waiting for the structural engineer and my friend Craig from ECS. We're gonna get some answers today. We were just having a chat looking up at the first floor window. Now, originally and in the past, I had told you about an aluminium cladding we were gonna use on either side and between the top window and the bottom window, so it all looked like one unit. However, now we're looking at it from outside and the windows are in. If you see on either side, just where the steels stick out, they have been clad in a timber finish. Now we're thinking we're gonna use that finish around the entire area and paint it black like the rest of the house. And underneath this window of the master bedroom, we're gonna take off kind of like the brick slip finish you can see. We're gonna render it white and then we're gonna have the black timber finish like there are at other parts of the house, but we're gonna line them up perfectly with the joints of the window so everything looks symmetrical. A couple weeks back, I was standing out here talking about the plan for the stairs, and we made a wider step, which would be 400, because the owner of this house, same height as me, lot slimmer, we got the same size feet. So let's check it out. 1 step, 2 step. Perfect. The level of the outdoor entertaining area is going to be here. In this area, we've removed all the earth and we've poured concrete. This is because what we have here, we're gonna continue this at an angle and then we're gonna go straight towards the house. We're gonna mix concrete on site and we're gonna pour it only into this area because I need this 16mm rebar to be strong enough because this is going to tie into the slab we're going to pour here. We're going to get the concrete lorry and the pump here and we are going to pour concrete here, 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 and then the slab all at one time in one pour to save time and money, and it will be all reinforced, connected and very strong. Here you can see a little trench we've dug. We're gonna feed the electric from inside the house to a small substation here. Now within this substation, we're gonna have all the drivers for the LEDs and the control for lighting box, and also a little heater, which will only turn on when it drops below a certain temperature, so it can keep all the control 4 units nice and warm. Structural engineer is here. I'm gonna go into the meeting. Ben has a very eventful day today. You saw us last week load bags into a 20-yard bin. He's going to site this morning to drop those bags off in a bin because the site don't want him lowering it with the crane off the flatbed. Once he's dropped those bags, he's gonna put the 20-yard bin back on. Then he's gonna go and do a 20-yard bin exchange. Gonna tip that off, bring the bin back to the yard and drop it. Then he's gonna put the flatbed on, and then he's gonna go and deliver machines to one of Manny's new jobs. I gotta go to my meeting. Here we're trying to work out how we're gonna get this dumper and digger on at the same time. We measured it and it didn't work, but we wanted to do it in one delivery. Now sometimes if you mess about with it, you can fit it on in a clever way and possibly get the dipper arm inside the dumper or to the side of it. Well, I said sometimes. Today isn't sometimes, so we've had to take the dumper off and put the digger on and deliver the digger first. Then we come back to the yard and load the dumper on. But when we put the dumper on this time, we put a 1.5 ton machine at the front and we lowered that dipper arm into the bucket of the dumper. This meant when we dropped the dumper off where we had already dropped off the bigger excavator, we could then continue to a second delivery for the smaller machine. So we just connect to that?
Yeah, you don't need to connect it. We have to be here. What, you reckon on the top? Or at the bottom?
No, we'll just feed the whole steel into it. Can we just put another one in front of this?
That's what I was thinking.
So you're saying that this one will be here, and then that one will sit on top of it? Structural meeting went well. The engineer was saying that we need to support the staircase. The staircase is steel, but it doesn't have any pillars holding it up. So the weight of it needs to be supported from somewhere. Thankfully, we're going to be able to remove the services from here. We're going to connect to this steel, and then we're going to have a steel coming out to around this point. We then have to put another steel here, what's going to bolt or weld here, and it's going to connect along the front here. So the steel here and the steel here are going to meet, and this steel will continue. Then we're going to put some smaller steels over here, which is going to support the curve, but the engineer says that there's not a lot of load in the curve. Previously, we were talking about pouring more concrete because the landing has got significantly bigger, but we're not going to do that. We are now going to use timber to infill it. The next meeting's about to start. Got a little bit of a strange one in the yard. Ben is flat out and somebody wanted a machine and they decided they want to come and collect the machine themselves, which we don't mind, but they've come to collect it on a vehicle which is a little bit different from the vehicles that are normally in the yard. Got a delivery of building materials coming in from our good friends at MP Moran's. Has something a little bit unfortunate happened with the tyres. So our tyre fitter has left to go to a call out of a puncture in Reading. And when we left to go and fix the puncture, he got a puncture on the way there. So now he's got to fix his puncture and then he's got to get to Reading and fix the puncture on the lorry as well. Long.
Whether you want to hide it away a bit, whether you want to move the static controller apart. But still, you know, they're going to see them on the wall everywhere, which is why I was to spray them black.
I don't know what the wall finishes are going to be.
So let's not. Can hide them away though, the controllers. But for now, it's where does the cable go?
Overflow, controllers, wall stats, localized power.
Fuse spurs.
On the ground floor, we want to close the ceilings. So if you look on the side here, there's like a clear pipe. This is the overflow from the air conditioning unit. So we're going to run a white plastic overflow pipe to here, and we're going to connect that to a drain. This has a pump within it, so it can pump about this sort of incline, but we're not going to use it that much. You can see there are pipes here which we can connect to. We need to fit a trap here also, because a trap is going to stop the smell. And we also have to let ECS know exactly where the wall controllers are going to be, because they're going to run a cable from here. They're also going to take the thermostat out of this and run the thermostat to a different point within the room, which is about 1 meter off the floor. The readings for this aircon unit will come from the thermostat and from the wall controller. You need to take 2 readings from a room, so in order to be accurate, you have to vary it across the area. If you have regulated your readings from the room, you'll get a more accurate reading, and then the air conditioning unit will work as it should. We're going to run temporary power to the 3 outdoor units, and we'll have temporary power to this. Then we will be able to test all of the units in their current location and work out if there are any repairs or any warranty work that needs to be done. Then we're going to be in a position where we can close the ceilings on the ground floor.
That up there, that's fine. That's supply air, right? But then there's this one, look.
In the basement with the aircon, we need to make some adaptations because the client has now requested some glass doors which are going to go on the front here. I believe there's going to be a poker table in this area. We have extreme challenges with the ceiling height. We have an air conditioning unit here and we have a ventilation system. So we need to get ventilation into this area so we can put fresh air in and draw out the stale air. The first thing we need to do is move this unit down on the tracks, because this entire wall is going to build up. We're building it up for a couple of reasons. It's going to build out here, it's going to build out here, and it's going to build out here. Once we build the wall out, the glass doors will now sit within a pocket. And now we can cap off from the ventilation pipe over there, go down to 100 mil, go through the ceiling, And the new cavity, which is going to be here, we can put this 100mm pipe through here, and we can put a grill on this side. So this will be the side where the fresh air is coming into the room, and on that side, that'll be the side where we take the stale air out. We now have the staircase company here who are measuring up for the stairs going between the first floor and the loft.
What are you going to have on top of that, where that's finished at the moment?
That's it for a busy morning at the refurbishment project. Heading back to the yard. That isn't meant to be here. And I've been told that we were on site for 2 hours and it couldn't be offloaded because the person who ordered it wasn't there. And then, because the bags were on and we couldn't get them off, we had to come back to the yard with all the bags, so we couldn't do the 20-yard bin exchange. And now because of the time, we need to drop the whole thing and go and start delivering machines. And I've realized that this video is 2 weeks behind, so it's coming out on the 31st of December. We interrupt your scheduled viewing for a message from the future. As I am Thanos and I wield the Infinity Stones, even though I can't put the glove on currently because of the shoulder operation, what I haven't had yet, I've managed to bring us to the future. So here you have a little snapshot of what is going to happen in the coming weeks, but I've used my powers to give you a New Year's wish. I want to say thank you to everyone that went on the journey with us in 2023, and I'd like to wish everybody a happy new year and let you know that 2023 was the warm-up. It's never too late to learn something new. It's never too late to become what you might have become. It's never too late for anything you want to do. So everybody get on it for 2024. Once again, thank you. Seasons greeting and have a great new year. And now, I'm going to bring you back to the future? No, now I'm going to bring you back to the past using the Infinity Gauntlet, which I can't actually wear at the moment. Today's actually the 11th of December, but by the time you see it, it will be the 31st. Happy New Year. It's Tuesday morning. Went to the gym nice and early this morning, got into the yard, thought the train would be here. It is not here yet. It is delayed. Have a look around this volumetric. The greedy boards are finished. We've changed the brakes on the front 2 axles and we are almost ready to send this lorry to get sprayed. And let's have a look at the artwork which they put together. You'll notice that it's the same as the 2 newest volumetric Volvos we have, not the Scanias, because that is the new Ashville artwork moving forward for the little rebrand that we had. We still keep the A and we still keep the name. With all the Ashville brands now, we have an A and then we have the color for that particular one. And this gives me a chance to go through all the logos. Ashville Aggregates, Ashville Concrete, Ashville Construction, Ashville Plant Hire, Ashville Entertainment, Ashville Holdings, aggregatesupplier.com, and the other ones I'm working on I can't tell you yet. I got a new Defender coming in April to replace my existing one, and I've ordered another car which I haven't shared with you yet, but I filmed the video team are editing it, but we've got so much to edit before that it's kind of gone on the back burner. But now I've got myself gassed on something else, the Cybertruck. A couple of weeks back I asked for my deposit back because it won't be available in the UK, but that's until I found out that one of my friends is going to be importing one. No, it's not the sticker man, he's not importing one, he don't want no Cybertruck. Now I want the Cybertruck, and I'm like, right, I'm going to import one. And then I figured out the Cybertruck is 6'8" wide. In London, we have width restrictions which are 6 foot by 6 foot. If you're not from London, this is probably very strange to you, but in built-up city areas, we've got width restrictions to stop bigger vehicles. There just so happens to be one of these width restrictions near my house. So this could mean that if I have a Cybertruck, when I'm on the way home, I would have to go the long way home every day, which could take anything between 20 minutes and an hour, depending on if there's been an accident. So I have had to park the Cybertruck idea once again. Speaking of parking, I see that at last the train is beginning to pull in and the LX60 is getting ready. And the train got here late, so the train is leaving already, and we managed to offload 3 wagons, and the train has got to go back. For those of you who don't know, when a train is scheduled to leave at a certain time, if it misses its slot due to the signalling and the way the network is set up, the train could get stuck here for days, and then it can't get to its next destination and its next destination after that. It's not our fault. We're not going to face any charges, but it is highly annoying and inconvenient because we do need the material, because currently we do not have stocks in the yard. At the refurbishment project yesterday, you saw us measuring up for the staircase to go to the first floor. We were just talking with the staircase makers who are going to make it out of pine. They asked what is going to be on the stairs. We told them carpet, and they said, do we want to have a bullnose edge or do we want to have a straight edge? Now, ordinarily when we're doing carpet, we have a bullnose edge, but in this case, we're not going to have it because the stairs going down to the basement do not have a bullnose, and the main staircase, which is in fabrication, also does not have a bullnose, so we want it to be in keeping with the rest of the house. But at one point we are going to have a glass balustrade, which is going to make it look nice and modern, but we're going to ensure there's a handrail on top of the glass balustrade to make sure that it doesn't get full of fingerprints. And now I am about to mess up Dudek's day, because I spoke to the client and they have an idea. Michael, who you've seen working here in the past, he has this chain of events of bad ideas. He calls it the free something, but I'm gonna call it the free people. He says a particular person comes up with an idea, and then the next person agrees to it, and then it moves on to the third person who now has to build it.
Hello?
I have a question for you. Do not panic before I say it, yeah?
Okay then.
Anywhere in the master bedroom, is there a wall underneath in the room below on the ground floor?
No, under the bedroom you have the, what you might call it, the dining room, yeah?
If we're measuring from the floor in the bedroom to where the ceiling is going to be on the floor below,
Yeah.
What sort of void have I got?
Around 400.
400, yeah?
Yeah. Roughly,
You see, now we've got a little problem.
What?
The client wants a TV which goes into the floor.
Okay.
And that's not okay. When it sinks into the
I'm not panicking, man. Yeah, I'm not panicking. Yeah, okay, what else you want? Maybe the bath sinking in the slab also.
It doesn't have to be at the foot of the bed.
Uh-huh.
Is there any wall or anything underneath at all where we can hide? It's going to have to go quite high because you have to be able to see it from the bed. Or if you think that won't work, look for somewhere in the ceiling where we could possibly drop down a projector or something. Anyway, the TV's got to be hidden and drop down when we need it. But I know that we can't do it because the ceiling's vaulted right away above the bed. Have a look at everything you can and take as many pictures as you can, and we try and work it out, yeah?
Okay then, no problem.
Thank you. And that is how a client asks for something. I agree to it. And that's how we put the entire team under pressure to make sure that we keep the client happy and find a way. I'm not sure we're going to be able to sink it into the floor, but we have used some brackets in the past, which are very interesting. And all it's about is hiding the television so we don't see it. And then having it drop down or recess or appear in a very modern and elegant way. I'm in Central trying to get to my meeting. And you know when you think you saw something, but you don't know if you saw it? Like I thought I saw a putty tat. So I'm just gonna quickly, this is actually going in the opposite direction of the meeting, which I got 20 minutes to get to and I haven't found parking. But I've got to go and see if I saw what I thought I saw. And now I've got myself in bare traffic. What's happening, Peter? I never get bored of that. I never get bored of going somewhere and turning up and there's an Ashville lorry there before me. Refurbishment project again. An approved kitchen design. Done, dusted. We're just going into detailed design with the layout so we can now run the first fix. We can do the underfloor heating and screed the floor. We push on for the glory of Ashville and Sparta. London can be challenging to make deliveries, plenty of tight spaces, plenty of tight roads. Our primary concern is not inconveniencing the public in any way whatsoever and keeping them safe.
My car's right there, this black one.
Yeah, you better get out of front, all right? It's all right.
As you can see here, Ben is a good lad. We'll move out the way whenever we need to accommodate people and make sure we do not become an inconvenience. What day is it today?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday. We're not in the yard. We are in central London about to go and look at another job. It's me, Dudek and David. Do the thing on Dudek's teeth. Smile, Dudek.
You need to look at the slab as well, because if it's cold, it's not insulated. You need to use it.
Oh! That was a great project to look at. Just caveating, I'm not saying that we've got the job. We got on well with the client. They also work in the construction industry. It's a good thing sometimes when I explain certain things, it makes sense to them. Now, it's not often that you find a house in central London in an affluent postcode that hasn't had any work done to it. Now, when you walk in the house straight away, you look and you see a couple of the walls are painted in some Farrow and Ball. Well, that's just fantastic. But then when you look deeper and you see the age of the boiler and you see the head height on all the doors and you take a look around and you see the windows aren't double glazed. Now, this house is within a conservation area, which means that we're going to have to submit planning to the council and to the conservation officer who work on preserving the architectural beauty in certain catchment areas in London. Walking around the house, starting at the top, we're looking at extending the top floor and putting a roof terrace on top. Now, the great thing about the roof terrace on top is that we look around and we see a precedent. That basically means somebody else has did it before. So when you apply for planning, you're basically saying, hold on a minute, they already did it. You look at the planning portal and you see the planning they submitted, and you can sometimes see historically things that have been rejected in the past. That can act as guidance so you don't waste your time with planning. All the plumbing and electric needs to be redone. On the ground floor, reasonable size kitchen. Living room is kind of small. However, we are looking at the garage and we'd like to convert the garage door to a window and then take the garage and make it part of the living area. The client has also asked us to excavate and create a basement. So the process now is to do some homework on the planning portal and work out how much time is needed. And then we need to go around, do an architectural survey, create the existing plans, work with the client closely to create the proposed plans. But then, because of the borough in London that we're going to be working with, they want the structural calculations at this stage. Out the front of the house, there is a tree which is connected to the house. We don't know if there's any TPOs, which are tree protection orders, and we're going to have to excavate next to the house by the tree to see if it's having any impact on the foundations. Everything needs to be submitted at this stage along with a traffic management plan, which basically means we need to tell them how we're going to get in and out of here, times we're going to do it, and what we're going to do to ensure that we don't impact the traffic in the local area. Speaking with the client to get everything we want, it could take 6 months. When you're applying for a basement and a roof terrace, also the client would like to make some of the windows bigger, this is going to be handled as 2 separate applications. One application will be roof terrace, making the windows bigger, the additional level. That's one application. And then a second application will be with the basement. They're not going to be treated the same. The reason there are 2 applications is because if you put in one application with the basement and the terrace, everything at the same time, if the planner has an issue with one small element of it, they can kick the whole thing out and say,
no, we're not having this.
However, if you separate the applications, they may be more favourable to the roof terrace and the change of the windows at the property. So this element may be approved, and then you may spend more time at planning with the basement, making alterations to keep the planners and conservation officers happy. We're estimating that by the time we draw it and go through everything and do all the structural calculations and traffic management plans and submit to get approval, We estimate that could take 6 months. And then we estimate the build to be between 15 and 18 months in duration. Now you might say, why does it take so long? I could build a new house. You could build a new house, but this isn't building a new house. This is working in central London with very limited space. And because of the size of the property, you can't throw 200 people at the build. Logistically, it doesn't work. An exciting job. Very exciting. We haven't got it yet, but you know, you got to play the lottery if you want to win it. We have to just present the client with the cost we believe required to deliver this project to a high standard. I'm off to the yard. The 926 is busy at the moment, so we have taken the grapple off the 914 and we are cleaning the area just in front so we can begin to work on this slope. Hello, big man, how you doing? Morning. We're creating a ramp to get up to the new slab which has been poured for the new material bays. Now we're using concrete blocks to make a mold. We're then drilling into the front face of the slab and fitting rebar with a resin. Once this is dry and we pour the new slope, it will tie the both of them together and it should be stronger and this should limit cracking. Headed down to the video room for a watch through. I've been told yesterday one of our lorries was pulled over at the side of the road in Hayes and taken back to a test station in Yedding. Now the lorry got a clean bill of health, but the driver didn't get any paperwork. Now we thought we'd receive some paperwork today to confirm all of this, but I'm being told by one of our consultants that when you get a clean bill of health, the DVSA won't issue you with paperwork. Now that's news to me, but you know, we're going to investigate that a little further. We were going to pour the concrete, but what happened was, it's a good thing and a bad thing, the concrete lorries were so busy, there was nobody here to pour them. And I can't stop the lorries going out earning money on the road. And the boys were ready to pour, so I've let them go. They've gone back to the refurbishment project, and Dudek's gonna come back first thing in the morning at 7 o'clock and pour the concrete before one of the lorries goes out on the road working. It's flat out in here. How we doing?
Good,
Not bad, mate. It's Thursday. I'm not in the yard. I'm on the road again. This morning, we finally managed to pour that concrete slope what leads up to the new bays, at long last. And as we finished, right on time, the train arrived. Going through all my notes and I had to send an email to the clients from the central London project what I showed you in the past. You know, the one where I did them multiple different layouts, and in the end the project manager that nobody asked for, aka Daniel, Ashville, LOUISY, they said,
Daniel, let's stick to the original plan, what we told you in the beginning, not all the drawings that you spent all your time doing.
Well, we applied for planning and we had been having challenges with the local authority in that we couldn't get them to confirm receipt of our application, which meant that it wasn't being processed. Now, we've been fighting with them on it for about 4 weeks, so I had to actually go to the client and let them know, this is what's going on at the moment. Please don't think that we're not doing anything about it. And if you check the planning portal and you don't see it yourself, because sometimes people do, please know that it isn't us, we are trying. Here's email correspondence of us talking to the local authority. You need to keep your clients updated with stuff like that, so you tell them in advance to manage expectations of timescales. At the refurbishment project, we have a question for the client. So the Tyre house has a Control 4 home automation system. Click here to watch a video where I explain home automation and what a smart home will do for you and what it will be like to live there and what it will cost. Anyway, this house has underfloor heating, air conditioning, automated lighting. We've run cables for blinds. It's got a CCTV. It's got a media matrix sat in a room. So there are 8 4K inputs in the matrix switch and 8 4K out, which basically means in a central point, you have all your Apple TVs and your Skyboxes or whatever else you use, some of them little digiboxes that some of you aren't meant to use, but you do. You plug them all in, and then those 8 sources are distributed throughout the house. We have touchscreen panels, top of the range, top of the line on everything. It's going to be a full smart home where we control everything through your phone, for a TV interface. You could do it on an iPad. You could do it on a handheld remote. What we're asking, in all the rooms, when you walk in, on the wall, you normally see a light switch. But next to that light switch, do you want to see the underfloor heating thermostat, and do you want to see the air conditioning control? Now, if you've also got a touchscreen panel in that room, it could detract from the decor. However, some people feel a lot more comfortable to actually have it on the wall and press the buttons manually themselves. So we've asked the client, because we don't want to put all of these things on the wall and then the wall is lighting up like a Christmas tree, and if we don't put it, then we don't want the client to say, well, why didn't you do it? So we put the ball over into their court for them to make a decision. A happy medium with these things is generally in main living areas where you do have a touchscreen panel. You just have the touchscreen panel and the light switch. And in secondary areas like guest bedrooms and communal places, you then have the individual underfloor heating thermostat and the aircon controller and these bits. But let's see what the client says. And in case you're wondering why I'm dressed like I'm going to a funeral, I'm going to the Commercial Motor event in Birmingham. They said lounge suits, but I kind of get that wrong every time, so I just thought I'd just stick to what I know. Like I know white, I know black, and I know yellow, so I just went for white and black today. At the awards, we're gonna have a good evening. I can't stay here the entire time. I got to fly back into town to go and meet the sticker man. So I'm gonna.
Flying, you're driving.
I'm driving. We don't all have helicopters. We're gonna enjoy our evening and make a start.
I'm really delighted to announce that the Commercial Motors industry champion is social media sensation, TV presenter and MD of Aggregates, Ashville Aggregates and Concrete, Daniel Ashley Lucy.
It feels amazing to win the Industry Champion of the Year award. I'm trying to work out where this is going to go, because this is a real big deal for me. Growing up, reading the Commercial Motor, going into stores and looking on the shelf and having a look and trying to read it. Sometimes you haven't got money to buy it, so you've got to come back another time, and the shop owner's saying either buy it or put it back. The fact that I followed the Commercial Motor my entire life and then win an award from the Commercial Motor in front of my peers, like someone's cutting onions in here. For me, growing up, transport was toys. And then as I grew older, I realized that transport is what is connecting this country. Transport makes so many things possible. You wouldn't have milk and bread on your table in the morning if it wasn't for transport. So for me, transport has been everything in my life. It's Friday, and I'm not in the yard yet. And I looked at something. I'm about to jump in the car and go to the yard, and I looked at something and thought to myself, so that's not right here. So I walked past and I walked back and I looked and then I looked back and then I said, what is wrong with this picture? How have I been robbed for the cover of my wheel that says Ashville on it? How is that possible? It says Ashville on it. Oh, well, I've lost my rear wheel cover and I don't know where it's gone and I don't know what's happening. And I definitely didn't take it off, so it appears that someone has relieved me of its possession. Well, that's fantastic. It's just fantastic. The train's backing in, full of type 1. Before we go over to the train, why isn't my boot cover there? It should be there. Why isn't it there? In the words of the Emperor in Gladiator, I'm vexed, terribly vexed. The train is fully offloaded, and that's about time that we get the volumetric ready to go out. Now, we had a bit of material on it because we were testing. We need to take all the material off that volumetric, and we're going to take a drive up to J. Radford, and hopefully they will start sandblasting next week and the week after spray it, and then hopefully we got our lorry back for the second week of January. Oh, this fit in here. How about someone just turns it off? Water's going that way. Water is coming from... wait, hold on. Ta-da! Well, there was a fitting leaking, and rather than just waste water, how about we turn it off and then fix the problem and then turn it back on, you know? So the day has taken another turn. I am in Denham. I am going back in a chopper. I'm heading up to the north of the country to see Mr. Fox. And aviation is the quickest way to travel. We've got a meeting in an hour. This journey should take about 45 minutes. Friday afternoon, and I'm above the yard. You know, I don't offer get time alone to be, but you know, it's been great to have a business partner and friend who has the resources to have a helicopter. I want to say to him, like, aren't these helicopters expensive? He was like, yeah, it's not cheap. The time that I would spend in the car going up and down the country trying to manage all my businesses, I'd never get out of the car. Paul has companies up and down the country, and the time he saves using the chopper, his time is the asset, not the helicopter. So it's good to have people like that around you and to learn from them, to bounce ideas off each other, and to have joint ventures. Just using this time to have a think and absorb and just like appreciate the great position I'm in. It's not my helicopter, but I have access to it. And I'm very thankful that he sent it to collect me. And I hope I'm not late for my meeting. We're at your house. I thought I was going to the yard. I'm clearly not. How we doing, lads? Well, the Fabbers here. We're back together again. Nice to see you, bud. 12 hours later. I was going to say less than 12 hours. Yeah. Yeah, you deserted us though. You went. I did. You got your award and you left us. Yeah, you could. I can see why you would think that. I can see how you would think that. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Next time I won't. Promise. Promise. Or take us with you. Next time I'll be the winner next time. Yeah. There we go. There we go. Well, I'm learning here. We have a horse box. You do horses as well, do you? Yeah. Ah, really like it up here. It's so much different from London because everybody's got so much space and there's so much vegetation and greenery around, and there's people with livestock and all sorts up here. So yeah, very much enjoying it. We had the drawings come through from the refurbishment project for the staircase, the one you saw us measuring early in the week. There's not really much to talk about with the stairs because it is what it is with the space we've been given, but of course we have to approve it. So we've pushed the button on that. And in the yard, just as I was leaving, there's a bit where you just come off the weighbridge where a bit of a dip, where the wheels turn when they're turning away from the weighbridge. It's digging out the ground there. So we poured a bit of concrete there to build it back up. Saturday, I'm not in the yard. I'm somewhere in the north of the country looking at green pastures as far as the eye can see. In the yard, we're loading tippers with Type 1 for Monday, doing a bit of tyre work. The tyre fitter is flat out. The helicopters arrived to take me back to London, but before I go, I have to get a closer look around this horse box. This is a Volvo 13 litre 540 brake. Now this is how Paul Fox transports his horses when he's going to shows. Do we need a review of this thing? Well, I got to drive this thing around and do a review of it, even though I haven't got any horses. So we have accommodation, got a little kitchen area, but get this, we see the seats, and when I press the button, make a bit of space. Free sitting in the front. Beds are up here. Beds can pop down. Nice little living area. Got a shower and everything on board. And at the back here, you can bring 4 horses. These are the partitions that you put in place. And the area over here, this is where you can have the water and the feed. They got windows front and back. The whole area is stainless steel. While you're traveling, obviously, the horses have to use the toilet. But when you get there, you drop the ramp at the back, you take them out and you can sweep out the area, keep it nice and clean. I've never seen anything like this before. I've never really been around horses. So it's pretty interesting to see all the different functions that you can have once you have the lorry chassis. I'm trying to think if there's something I can do. You're meant to think about business in what do I need for business and then get a vehicle to make it work. Me, I think about the vehicle and then what I can do around the vehicle to do a business. So I'm really gonna have to knock that on the head and start thinking properly. My chariot awaits. On the way back to London, had dinner last night and breakfast this morning. Conversations with Foxy. I'm very excited and the future's bright. You'll know more very soon. I want to stress again the importance of relationships, but relationships like the one Foxy and I have. Now, to be blunt and to be truthful, there's a lot of things and resources that Foxy has that I don't have. He's way ahead of me in many senses, but there are other areas where I can add value to his life and contribute to what he's doing. And the way somebody does for you may not necessarily be the way that you do for them. But if you're both adding value to each other's lives in whatever area that is, like the relationship, it feels like natural and it feels organic. And the fact of the matter is, I would do it even if I was getting nothing out of it, and he would do the same. So it's very exciting to sit down with someone like that and talk about possibilities and the future and what you can both do together. Now, that's not to say that everything you talk about is going to work, but the fact that you can get the creative juices flowing and you can talk about ways you could make something work as opposed to just talking about ways that it doesn't work, and see if you can have a mutual understanding and create something where the both of you have a benefit, it's great. It's been a very eventful week. Very productive 18 odd 20 hours up in the north of the country. Very pleased. Onwards and upwards. 2023 is just a warm-up, boy. Time is 3 p.m. The yard is very quiet. Kept forgetting to do something all week. One of the Scania volumetrics, because I need to order a load of these things here, the knob that you turn. I needed a couple of these things as well because they're gone on some of the other ones. These little bits and pieces around the lorry that the drivers need. It shouldn't be that difficult to open, and I think this one is, oh no, this one works. Well, this one feels new. A couple of those. Gonna take a walk around the yard. Make sure I don't hear any hissing coming out of any tyres. Make sure there are no other little bits and pieces that I'm missing that we haven't ordered. And that's it for Ashville Weekly episode 167. Click here for the Ashville website. Click here to subscribe to our channel. Click here to see an Ashville video you may not have seen before. And click down here for last week's episode, which was number 167. Now, why is this on? I don't really think this light should be on. This is probably draining the battery. And then on Monday morning, the battery will be dead. Let me try and turn this off.